I stood at the altar sweating through my shirt collar, even though the church had air conditioning. My hands were cold, my heart was racing, but I kept smiling, because there she was, Ava. She looked like a dream in that white dress, curves that could stop traffic, smile that could disarm an army. Her eyes locked on mine like I was the only man alive, and in that moment, I truly believed I was. We'd been together for almost 2 years, dated through a few ups and downs, survived a long-distance stint when she was in LA working on that real estate gig, and I proposed on a mountain trail with a $6,000 ring I saved for over 9 months. I was all in. My best man, my younger cousin Julian, leaned in and muttered with a smirk, "Damn, Noah, you actually pulled this off. She's a 10. You? Generous 6.5, maybe 7 if you're holding a puppy." I chuckled, shaking off the nerves. I thought I was the luckiest man alive. We said our vows. We kissed. It tasted like champagne and hope. And if I'd known then what I'd know a month later, I would have run straight out that church and never looked back. The reception was beautiful. Candlelight, dancing, too many toasts. Ava looked like she belonged in a movie. And me? I was just the guy lucky enough to be her co-star. That night, after the last guests staggered out and the Uber drivers had carted off the drunk uncles and giggling bridesmaids, we got home. Our home now. I had bought the place 6 months prior, 2-story colonial, fixed it up myself, even repainted the guest room walls her favorite pale green. She called it sage, whatever that means. I remember carrying her over the threshold, joking, "If I throw my back out, we're consummating this marriage in the emergency room." She laughed, kissed me, but when I leaned in again, this time for something more, something expected on a wedding night, she pulled away. "Not tonight, Noah." At first, I didn't get it. She stepped back, crossed her arms over that perfect dress. "Just because we're married doesn't mean I owe you anything." It hit me like a slap, but I nodded. "Yeah, of course, of course." I told myself she was just tired. Weddings are stressful. All that attention, all the dancing. I figured she'd come around the next night. She didn't. Not the next night, not the one after that. For 4 straight weeks I tried everything. Romantic dinners, back rubs, candles, actual conversations. Nothing worked. Every time I reached for her, she pulled away. Every time I tried to talk, she shut me down. And then there was the phone. Always lit up at night. Her screen glowing in the dark like a lighthouse, except I wasn't the one it was guiding. I asked, "Who are you texting?" "Work stuff," she'd reply, way too fast. Her tone flat, robotic. The kind of answer that's technically an answer but means absolutely nothing. She started staying out late. Said she was running errands but came back with nothing in her hands. Her laughs got rarer with me, but I'd see her smirking at her phone like it told better jokes than I did. She even started asking weirdly specific questions about my construction business. "How many contracts do you usually handle a month? Do you have insurance for all your equipment? Why do you want to know?" Just curious. But her tone wasn't curious. It was clinical, like she was evaluating me. Not as a husband, as a resource. Julian showed up more than usual too. He had started working for my company a year earlier as a project coordinator. Nothing fancy, but enough to keep him on his feet. He started dropping by to talk business, but business always seemed to take place in our living room, and his eyes always lingered a little too long on Ava. "How's married life, big guy?" he'd ask with that annoying grin. "She's adjusting," I'd say with a forced smile. He'd nod. But then Ava would walk in, and for a second, his expression would change. Like something flickered behind the grin. And Ava? She'd give him this quick little smile, like a reflex. It was subtle, but something inside me, something primal, knew it wasn't right. Weeks passed, and each night I laid next to a woman who acted like I was a stranger she accidentally married. At first I kept trying, back rubs, breakfast in bed, even flowers from that overpriced boutique she used to love, but the only thing I ever got in return was silence, and that same brick wall of a sentence. "Just because we're married doesn't mean I owe you anything." Eventually I stopped reaching. You can only touch a hot stove so many times before you let it burn on its own. What made it worse? The goddamn phone. Or every night she'd curl up on her side of the bed, screen glowing like a portal to some secret world. Her fingers danced like she was composing symphonies. She'd giggle, quiet little private giggles that weren't for me. I asked once, "Who are you texting this late?" She didn't even glance up. Work stuff. Her tone was so flat it may as well have been a slap. I didn't press, not that night. But I started noticing things. She'd say she was heading out to grab groceries or return something, but she'd come back with nothing but a smug little smile and some perfume that wasn't hers when she left. She never offered explanations, and I stopped asking, at least out loud. Inside, though? My gut was screaming. Then came the bathroom door. It was a Wednesday. I remember because I had just come back from the site early. We were ahead of schedule on a commercial install, and I decided to surprise her with takeout and a decent bottle of wine. She was locked in the bathroom. The shower wasn't running, but I could hear her voice, hushed and breathy. I crept closer, pressed my ear against the door like I was in some cheap thriller movie. "He doesn't suspect a thing," she whispered. Then a pause. "Just be patient. We're almost there." I stepped back, my pulse punching my ribs. What the hell was that? Was she talking about me? The floorboard creaked under my heel, and suddenly her voice stopped. A few seconds later, the door opened. She stepped out holding her phone like it was made of gold, eyes wide, jaw tense. I played dumb. "Everything okay?" She barely blinked. "Work call." "At 11 at night?" She narrowed her eyes. "Do you not trust me, Noah?" I didn't say that." "You didn't have to," she muttered, brushing past me. And that was the moment I knew. This wasn't paranoia. This wasn't overthinking. This was war. I just hadn't seen the battlefield until now. After that night, everything changed, at least for me. Ava? She carried on like nothing happened. Same cold shoulder, same secretive little smirks at her phone, same vague explanations about where she'd been and why her hair looked freshly styled after a quick trip to the pharmacy. But now I was done playing the clueless husband. I stopped asking questions. I stopped reacting. And that's what scared her most. I think she was used to me being hurt, confused, soft. But when I went quiet, she noticed. That silence gave me room to watch. One night, she left her phone on the kitchen counter while she was in the shower. It lit up with a text. Normally, I wouldn't look, but I did. The screen glowed with a single message. All good. From a contact labeled simply J, short, harmless looking, but my chest went tight. J? She didn't have any friends named J. Not that I'd met, not that she'd mentioned, and that wasn't how a real friend texts at 10:42 p.m. I didn't open it. I didn't need to. My gut already knew. I heard the water stop. I backed away from the counter like I was escaping a crime scene. Ava came out wrapped in a towel, her hair wet, skin glowing. She spotted the look on my face in an instant. She looked at the phone, then back at me. "What were you doing?" "Nothing. Your phone buzzed." She gave me that narrowed stare, the kind a cat gives a dog right before it swipes his nose. "You were reading my messages?" "No. I just saw the screen light up." She snatched it, stormed upstairs, and slammed the door. That night, I couldn't sleep. The air felt thick, like the house itself knew I was living with a liar. The next morning, after she left early for errands, I logged into our shared phone account. She'd insisted on being on my plan to save money. Now I thanked every god in the sky for that. I scrolled through the call logs. The blood drained from my face. Dozens of calls. Same number, always late at night. Often while I was at work. Sometimes while I was asleep right next to her. And that number belonged to Julian. My cousin. My best man. My employee. The same Julian who always had time to stop by. The same Julian who always asked about her with that dumb grin. The same Julian who'd once joked at our wedding reception, "Careful, Noah. If you don't keep her happy, someone else will." I thought it was just a tasteless joke. Now I realized it was a warning wrapped in a confession. Once I saw the call logs, something inside me snapped. I wasn't hurt. Not yet. I was focused. Like a switch flipped and every kind, trusting part of me got boxed up and locked away. I'd spent a month sleeping next to a woman who looked me in the eyes and lied. And Julian, my own blood, was feeding her the lines. They thought I was a fool, and I was, until now. 2 days later, Ava claimed she was meeting a friend for drinks. Wore a low-cut black top she hadn't touched in months. Sprayed perfume I hadn't smelled on her in weeks. The good stuff. I stayed in the kitchen pretending to scroll my phone. "Which friend?" I asked, real casual. "Trish," she said without missing a beat. "Haven't seen her in forever." I nodded. "Tell her I said hi." She smiled. "Sure," and walked out like nothing was wrong. But Trish lived out of state. Ava had told me that herself 3 weeks ago. I waited exactly 10 minutes. Grabbed my keys, slipped into my truck, and followed. No headlights, no music, just that burning quiet anger that comes when your heart and your brain finally agree, this is betrayal. She drove out of town, took a left past the highway exit, then pulled into an old service road that led to one of those empty industrial parks, the kind with broken lights, half-built warehouses, and just enough privacy to ruin someone's life. I parked far enough back that she wouldn't see me. And then I saw it. Julian's car, that rusty gray Mustang he always swore he'd restore. It pulled up beside hers like it had done this 100 times before. He got out first. Ava stepped out a second later. They didn't hesitate. No cautious looks, no second guessing. They kissed, not some guilty peck. No, this was deep, familiar. Hands on hips, her fingers in his hair, like lovers in a damn soap opera. I gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles cracked. I should have felt rage or heartbreak, but all I felt was cold, like my soul packed its bags and left me alone to deal with the wreckage. I drove home on autopilot, her laugh still echoing in my ears, his hands on her hips replaying in slow motion. I sat in the dark kitchen, the wine still on the counter, the glasses untouched. They thought they were clever, that I was some idiot builder with a pickup and a good heart, that I'd roll over, cry, move out quietly. They didn't know me at all. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat in my office, just me, a desk lamp, and the truth. Everything I thought I knew about Ava, gone. Everything I felt toward Julian, buried under concrete. What I had left was focus. I already had the phone logs. I'd seen the kiss. But I needed more. Proof that would hold up, not just in court, but in reputation, in legacy, in vengeance. So I started digging. First stop, our bank accounts. I noticed Ava had been making small withdrawals from our joint fund. At first, I chalked it up to groceries or online shopping, but now I pulled every receipt, every transfer, every vague vendor. Some of the withdrawals were in cash. Some were through weird apps I didn't even know she used, but they all had one thing in common: they weren't for us. I tracked one charge to a hotel spa, one to a wine bar I'd never heard of, and one was for an online boutique Julian's ex-girlfriend owned. So yeah, not Trish. Then I pulled messages from our cloud backup. She didn't know our phones were syncing. I found a string of deleted texts, one from Julian 3 weeks before the wedding. "He's loaded. Just hang in there." Another from Ava. "I'll bleed what I can before I'm out." I stared at the screen, fingers numb. This wasn't a love affair gone wrong. This was a heist in a white dress. The next day, I called my lawyer, David Monroe. The guy had handled a contractor fraud case for me years ago, sharp as a scalpel and twice as fast. He picked up on the second ring. "You getting divorced, Noah?" "Not exactly," I said. "I want the marriage wiped off the books. This was fraud." I told him everything: the faked relationship, the hidden affair, the financial theft, the plan to drain me dry and skip town with my cousin. David didn't hesitate. "Annulment with cause. We go in strong. You got a prenup?" "Yeah. She signed it 6 weeks before the wedding. She joked that I didn't trust her. And she was right." Over the next few days, I gathered every crumb. I took screenshots of texts, snapped a photo of Ava's phone screen while she was in the shower, Julian's name next to a red heart. Hired a private investigator, a woman named Kate who'd done work for a friend's divorce. 2 days later, she sent me photos. Ava and Julian at the same industrial park again. Kissing, laughing, holding hands. One shot was him handing her a thick envelope. Cash maybe my own damn money. Every piece of the puzzle fell into place. And now, I wasn't just holding the pieces. I was holding the detonator. Ava knew something was up the moment I stopped reacting. I didn't argue anymore, didn't ask where she was going, didn't reach for her in bed or care if she came home late. I just watched. That made her nervous. She started leaving the room when I entered, locked her phone tighter, even packed a small weekend bag, claiming she needed space to clear her head. I let her. She thought I was giving up, but in reality, I was loading the first strike. The day I filed the annulment, David sent the process server right to our doorstep. I wasn't home. I made sure of it. She called me 10 minutes later, screaming, "You can't do this. Noah, we're married." "No, Ava, we're not. You lied your way into it. Don't be dramatic. It wasn't that serious. You and Julian planned it before the vows. You played me. You used me." She hesitated. Then the fake tears started. "Noah, please. This doesn't have to be messy." I hung up. She retaliated immediately. The very next day she filed a counterclaim, sued for alimony, claimed I pressured her into signing the prenup, said she was coerced and deserved half of my business. Bold move for someone with screenshots titled "Cash Cow." Then came Julian. He walked into my office Monday morning like nothing had happened, clipboard in hand, signature smugness on his face. "Got those site updates for you, boss," he said, dropping the papers on my desk. I didn't even look at them. "You're fired." His grin froze. "What? You heard me. Pack your crap. Get out." "Come on, Noah. This is about her? Look, man, you're overreacting." I stood up, got in his face. "I saw you with her." He swallowed. "It's not what it looked like. It looked like you were kissing my wife. Is that not what it was?" He opened his mouth, closed it, then grabbed the clipboard and left, mumbling curses under his breath. But the real ambush came that weekend. My mom. She invited me over for family dinner. Said she missed me. Wanted to talk. I walked in, and there they were. Ava and Julian, sitting at the kitchen table like it was just another Sunday roast. My mom rushed over. "Daniel, please, let's talk this through. They told me everything. It was a mistake, just fun that got out of hand." I looked at them. Ava avoided my eyes. Julian gave me this pathetic half-smile like he thought this was going to end in hugs. "This?" I said slowly. "This was fun for you?" "Daniel," my mom began. "Lying to me? Going behind my back? That's your idea of fun?" She flinched. "He's your cousin. Forgive him." I laughed, cold, hollow. "Not anymore. He's a leech." I turned to Ava. "And she? She's a scam artist who thought marriage meant direct deposit." Ava stood, offended. "That's not true." Julian reached for her arm like some second-rate hero. "Let's just talk, man." I stepped in closer, towering over both of them, voice steady, low. "You don't get to talk. You don't get anything from me. Not my business, not my money, not my name." Then I turned to my mom. "If you're taking their side, you can stay with them too." "Daniel." I walked out, their voices fading behind me. The court date came fast. Ava's lawyer was one of those slick TV commercial types with the fake concern and the $1,000 tie. He strolled in like this was open and shut, like I was just some bitter ex trying to stiff his poor, helpless wife. Ava wore a soft blue dress, hair curled, eyes red, probably from rubbing onions on them in the parking lot. No Julian in sight. I guess even he didn't want to be part of the circus when the cameras weren't rolling. Her lawyer stood up and delivered a performance. "Your Honor, my client was manipulated into signing a prenuptial agreement under emotional duress. She was isolated, controlled, and left with nothing." I didn't flinch. Neither did Judge Hawkins, sharp older woman who looked like she'd seen every trick in the book and set fire to the index. Then it was David's turn. My lawyer didn't speak much. He let the evidence do the talking. Phone logs, cloud backups, photos. Screenshots of deleted messages with lovely lines like, "He's loaded. Just hang in there. I'll bleed what I can before I'm out." And the cherry on top? Metadata proving Ava's abuse photos had been edited after the annulment papers were filed. Her whole sob story collapsed in under 10 minutes. David looked the judge straight in the eye. This wasn't coercion. This was calculated. She married him with a financial motive and a backup plan. His own cousin. Ava squirmed in her seat. Her lawyer flipped pages like they were going to save him. I took the stand, told the truth, kept it simple. She married me for money. When I found out she was cheating, she tried to take more. I'm not angry. I just want my name back. Judge Hawkins didn't even need a recess. Annulment granted, she said. Prenup stands. No alimony. No division of assets. Bang. Done. Ava stormed out without a word. Her lawyer trailed behind her, whispering something she clearly didn't want to hear. I didn't smile. I didn't pump my fist. I just stood there, quiet, free, for now. It was a quiet night. Cool air, crickets in the distance, beer in hand. I was on the porch just existing. For the first time in weeks, the silence wasn't heavy. It was mine. Then I saw headlights. Julian's truck, of course. He pulled in slow, like maybe if he moved gently enough, he could reverse the damage. He climbed out with his hands raised like he was surrendering to police. "Noah," he called out. Just hear me out, man." I didn't move. "You've got 30 seconds. He started talking fast, desperate. "She dumped me. Ava dumped me, man. Said I was useless now that you filed. I lost my job. The guys won't even talk to me. Mom's crying every day. I know I screwed up. I know I did." He took a step forward. I stood. "You're my cousin," he said, voice cracking. "We're family." I looked him dead in the eyes, calm, unshaken. "You stopped being family the day you looked me in the face and lied. You don't get to stab me and then ask for a bandage. Noah, come on! Get off my property!" He opened his mouth again. "Now!" Julian stood there like he still believed there was a version of this where I forgave him. Then he turned, got in the truck, and drove off. I didn't watch him leave. The next morning, I found a letter in my mailbox. Neat cursive, no return address, but I didn't need one. I knew that handwriting by heart. My mother, 2 pages, emotional blackmail wrapped in guilt. "You're breaking my heart, Noah. He's your cousin. You're acting like a stranger. Family forgives." I read it once, then I lit a match and watched it burn in the kitchen sink. Family doesn't betray you and expect forgiveness like it's owed. The days got quieter after that. No more surprise texts, no unexpected visits, no guilt-tripping letters, no lawyers pushing paper across the table. It was just me and the business and peace. For once, Sarah, my office manager, kept things steady. She'd been with me 5 years, never called in sick, never missed a deadline, never once flirted with anyone to get what she wanted. Funny how, after the chaos, I started noticing the calm. One morning, she walked into my office with coffee in each hand. She didn't say much, just placed 1 cup in front of me, then lingered. "You look better," she said. "More like yourself." I raised an eyebrow. "That bad before, huh?" She smirked. "You had the emotional range of a wet sponge. Now you're back to regular grump." I chuckled, and for the first time in what felt like forever, it was real. "Thanks for holding things down," I said. She shrugged. "I believe in what you built here. I wasn't about to let 2 freeloaders burn it to the ground." She turned to walk out, then paused at the door. "You ever think about grabbing a drink? Outside of work hours?" I looked up, surprised, but not hesitant. "Yeah, I do." She smiled. "Good. Let's do that sometime." It wasn't a romantic fireworks moment. There was no dramatic music or slow-motion glance. It was just honest, easy, real, and after everything I'd been through, That was exactly what I needed. A few months passed. Julian tried calling once, left a voicemail that started with, "Hey man," and ended with a bunch of sniffling and nothing I cared to hear. I deleted it without listening to the middle part. Ava vanished, probably chasing another opportunity somewhere with a new name and an old strategy. I heard through a mutual acquaintance she tried dating some finance guy. It didn't last. My mother never apologized, but she did send me a birthday card. No signature, just a Bible quote scribbled inside about forgiveness and family. I didn't burn it. I just never opened another one. Business stayed solid. My crew respected me more after the whole mess, like standing up for myself made me more of a leader, not less. And Sarah, she became more than just the office manager. Not a fairy tale, not some whirlwind, just two adults who'd both been through storms, sitting in the calm, not trying to impress or fake anything. A real connection, the kind that doesn't have to shout to be heard.